Hey everyone, I was going to say good morning, but it's actually good afternoon. I will be bringing in my friend Rebecca, who I know her from rescue at our workplace. And I want her to talk about her struggle. Okay, it's working on adding her in. Anyway, so I know Rebecca, and there she is. Hey lady, is this your first live?
This is my first live.
No pressure.
No pressure at all.
So I was just doing a quick intro about you. So you and I know each other from working together. I think we met initially through rescue with our friend Nicole,
Yes, ma'am.
and you retired from our workplace from what, like 2 years ago ish?
Yep.
Okay.
hmm
So I know you volunteer with a rescue called Rain, I believe.
I do rain rescue.
Perfect. Anything else that you do
Yep.
right now in your time since retiring?
Most, yeah. Being a grandma,
Yeah.
I have three grandkids, and so most of my time is spent working and babysitting them while parents work. I did take a year stint at Central Christian Church and worked in the HR department. So that was an experience that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
Um,
And I'm sure
so
appreciated your mad corporate world skills.
it was very different. Yeah. When I told them about the Intel experience, they didn't have they had a hard time believing how stressful it was, but I think towards the end they caught my drift and kind of believed it.
Even then, if
Yep.
you're in it, I don't think you really get it.
Nope, 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 not at all.
So I know, I think 3 years ago, your hubby Al started to show the signs of having Alzheimer, correct? Or was it before that, or does it go back to about 4 years?
It's been about 4 years. Yeah. The first time he showed, we knew something was really wrong, was his kind of chores or responsibilities around the house. He had retired because he was having a little bit of difficulty doing some of the things he was doing. And so he retired and he was feeding the dogs one day, or was supposed to feed the dogs. And I said, have you fed the dogs yet, dear? And he said, no. And he stood there in the kitchen and he looked at me like he had no clue as to what to do. And he said, I know I need to feed the dogs, but I forgot what I need to do. And he'd been doing this for, a couple of years now. And I said, what did you forget? And he said, where is the food? And what do I do? And at that time, we both knew that something was really, really wrong. And it just kind of went downhill, you know, from there. Um, we did go right away and get a diagnosis. It took us probably 6 to 8 months to get it diagnosed and figure out really what
Yeah.
it was. Getting into a neurologist and getting all of the screening done and everything was a little bit of a process. So,
The
yeah,
good is that he was honest with you, that he didn't know what he was supposed to do. I think a lot of people kind of
yeah,
just not mention it, kind of deny it, maybe because they don't want to be in the realization that this is really happening to them. So that's good that Al felt comfortable to go, I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
absolutely. And he's been really, really, really good through this whole process. He's admitted when he doesn't remember things. He has given up his driver's license voluntarily because he didn't want to hurt himself or somebody else, an innocent person who was on the road, which I have learned since then is a huge, huge problem with people with Alzheimer's because that's not something they want to give up. It's
No.
an independence that they fight against, and a lot of times they end up hurting somebody before it actually comes down to it happening. So,
And they
so
end
I'm
up,
really thankful that, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So Al's doing really
yeah,
good, really impressive that he's been that
yep,
willing to look, yeah, he can't be trusted with a car, you
yep,
know.
yeah,
Yeah,
yep,
very big of him. Um,
yep. I agree.
what's been like the biggest struggle through the 4 years of this whole process? Like what moment sticks in your mind that's been the most difficult?
Um, Not knowing, well, I think for him, the biggest struggle for him is knowing that he is losing his control. Um, losing the driving. He he doesn't use the stove or anything like that, power tools or anything like that. So for him, I think a lot of that is losing that
Yeah.
and not knowing the future. Um, for me, I think the biggest part is the unknown. I'm a little bit of a control freak, and so I always need to know what next year is going to look like, or 5 years. That's always that planning, that strategic planning for me. And
Yeah.
when you're dealing with someone with Alzheimer's, there is no strategic planning other than what are we going to do when it gets to point A, point B, point C, but you have no idea when that is going to be or how soon.
It's probably
So,
kind of at times an hour by hour thing and then a day by day thing.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And,
yep,
yep.
absolutely.
Well, it was
Yeah,
a huge blessing that you were able to retire because I remember in your last 6 months or so being there,
yeah,
being tied to a corporate desk all day long,
yeah,
buried minute to minute, and not knowing
yeah,
I'm at home. So it was a blessing
yes.
I think that was a blessing being handed to you on a golden platter because that's exactly what you needed.
And I can say through this whole process that God's known what I needed when I needed it.
Good.
And I haven't always been happy with that decision. When something happens, it's like, I don't want this to happen. I want to keep working. I am not made to be idle. I need to work. I'm pretty young yet. And I just feel like I struggled with that a lot and still sometimes still do today. But
Hey, have you been able to accept that a little bit more now that I know it takes a retiree, a good
yeah,
worker, to learn that not everything has to be scheduled and not everything has to be done yesterday. And
right, right. Yeah. It's getting easier. I wish I could say that my life has been relaxing and joyful since I've retired, but it's kind of like it's been one
yes,
one struggle or challenge after another. So a lot of family drama and different things going on. So yeah,
struggle would be an understatement because I know
yeah,
about, we won't go
yeah,
into that, but I know exactly what
yeah.
you're about. And it is, I think that has tested you and your family to its ultimate limits.
Yes, it has.
Be honest
It
about
has.
it.
Yep.
So tell us about what your church, or this program that your church has, and how it ties into Al's dream.
Okay. So Al has been, like I said, very, very positive and upbeat and everything. But he has a pretty strong relationship with his Lord, and so he is ready whenever the time comes. But the one thing, you always see these stories, what would you like to do? What's the one thing on your bucket list that you would like to do? And he said all along, the only thing I ever want to do before I die is walk where Jesus walked. And he feels very, very pulled spiritually to do that. And so I've been praying for the last year and a half, hoping that something would come up. I don't feel comfortable just taking him to Israel, Palestine on my own.
Right.
Um, there's a lot of danger. There's things going on if something would happen to me. Um, he when he doesn't get enough sleep, he'll start stuttering, he'll do different things, and so it's just not a safe environment.
No.
And then this came up. It's a peacekeeping trip to Israel, Palestine that's coming up in November. There was a sign up at the church. There is two pastors that are leading it, and it is a peacekeeping trip. We are going with the mission of understanding the people and the culture. We hear so many different things on the media about Israel and about Palestinians and about what's going on over there and the conflicts and everything. And we hear what the media wants us to hear and what fuels, you know,
Mm.
society. Um, we want to go over and we're actually going to be sitting down and talking to Palestinians, and we're actually going to be going to talk to Israeli families and sitting down and having a meal with both of them individually and
That's
talking to them and finding out what is it that, that is going on over here and what's happening so that some of this myth and some of this media stuff is put to bed. So there are places that we're going to go over there while we're there, obviously, to the Sea of Galilee and Jerusalem and Bethlehem and places like that. But it's mostly to understand the culture and understand the people. There's a lot of that here where we live in the United States of us versus them,
yeah.
whether it's people coming across the border, whether it's a different nationality than what we are, if it's a different language, if it's whatever. There's so much of us and them. And I think this is a mission and a trip that is going to help break down some of those barriers. It's not just about Israel, Palestine, it's about different cultures, whether you're here or there. And so just understanding people in general and that there's two sides to a story and that they're all wanting the same thing in the end. They're all wanting peace and they're all wanting to live in
Yeah.
harmony. I mean, there's always, an underlying faction there, but they all want the same thing.
And you
So,
guys are working towards breaking down those barriers, which needs to happen
yes,
for some.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you know what? In
Yep.
hearing you talk about this, I would love at the end of your trip to share your experience in this group.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I would like that. Yeah.
That's what this group's
Yep.
about, kind of
Yep.
journey and mission. So I'd love it if you follow. I'll get in touch with you after your trip and let's work on having that happen.
Yeah,
Um,
that would be great. I would like that.
yeah. So I know this trip. I see it's costing you $7,000 to go to this trip.
For the two of us, yes.
How, without, I'm not asking for a dollar amount, but how are you doing reaching that goal? Like, where are you at so far? Because we're in October.
Yeah, we have less than a month or right at a month. We leave on the 10th of November and everything has to be in at the end of October, as far as the funds and everything. So we
You have
are
three.
about 50% there. So
Okay.
we have
So
a ways
what
to go.
you do? So if you don't get that 7 grand, there's just no going. There's no buffer or anything to help make it
There
happen.
is no buffer. We have to come up with the money one way or the other. There isn't anything that's, that the church doesn't pay for, what we don't come up with. It has to become we have to come up with it one way or the other. Yeah. Yep.
So
So my
what are your thoughts? Oh, go ahead.
my one concern about this whole thing is that Al is to the point right now that he will be able to get something out of this trip. He will physically be able to walk where Jesus walked, and he'll be physically be able to do that. With the progression of the Alzheimer's, I don't know if we'll be able to do another trip. I know some people have said, well, what about down the road? Could you do another one, after the beginning of the year? I don't know from day to day or from week to week, but I think
Yeah,
this is probably our last opportunity to do this before it gets to the point where it really wouldn't benefit him to go. So,
I agree. And the blessing that if you can go, you will have all your photos and video from your trip that you can always replay for him. When he gets to that point where he's not
absolutely.
remembering. And let me just say, so our coworkers go over to Israel quite a bit. I don't know if you
Yes,
remember
yeah.
Kurt Ralston. So when
Yeah.
he came to my department, I don't know how 3-4 years ago, he did that whole
Uh-huh.
walk with Jesus, and he showed me and he said that the whole experience was absolutely incredible. I mean, I would love to go over there and do that.
Yeah.
I think that was just that. I mean, the history
Yeah.
that you're walking in history. So I'm excited for
Yeah, and
you.
you can,
Um,
yeah, you can read the Bible and think of all those places and things, but until you actually have been to one of them or have actually, I mean, not that we don't think they exist, but I mean, it just is different being there. Yeah.
yeah, I actually have goosebumps thinking about it. So, what are your
Yeah.
thoughts on when we wrap up this video? And be honest with me, I can convert this video into YouTube where we can share it out outside of the group, maybe to help get
Okay.
the rest of your donations. Good with
Yeah,
that?
that would be great. I'm please, I would
I think
appreciate
we
that a
need
lot.
a broader audience to get this because you
Yeah.
do only have 3 weeks to win. So,
Yeah.
so at the end, we'll wrap up this video. Rebecca is going to post the donation link in the comments. I will probably ask everyone in this group to help share out this video outside of this group, if you're okay with that, Rebecca, and really get out there and
Absolutely.
get you and Al out so he can have his dream. I
That would
mean,
be
that would be
so
incredible.
very, very good. Yeah. Yeah.
Cry. I will
I
cry
I
when you
want I
tell
want to say
me you've got.
I just want to I just want to say one other thing, and something that is near and dear to Al's heart, just to kind of tell you what kind of person he is. Um, Al is a retired police officer from Oregon, and so he did that many years, helping people and putting his life in danger for other people. When he retired, he continued to give back by helping animals. He said one of the most rewarding things in his life, bottle feeding babies, kittens. We rescued through the pound, the Maricopa County, Animal Control Center, and then through Rain Rescue. And
Yeah.
we've had over between 100 and 200 kittens through this house that have been bottle feeders, that he would get up every 2 hours all through the night and bottle feed those kittens, just because that's where his heart is.
Oh,
So
yeah.
just kind of
Which
about
says a
where,
lot about him as a human being.
where his heart is. It
Yes,
does. It
exactly.
does.
Yes. So I can
Yeah.
tell our video is starting to break up a little bit. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up with that. I will do everything I can to help you
Okay.
get those donations and get you guys to where you want to be. So thank you for
Thank you
doing
very
your
much.
very first live video with us. And thanks for
It
sharing the
wasn't too
story.
painful, I have to tell you. It wasn't too painful. All right. Thank you, Colleen.
It's not that it's less intimidating when you have somebody else in the video with you and you're not just stuck going,
Yeah.
So you did great.
Yep. Yep. Thanks.
All right. Well, so good job. You did a great job. You're no longer a live video virgin.
Whoa, darn.
All right.
That's okay. I can live with that.
Yes.
See you later. Thanks, Colleen.
All right. Thanks, Rebecca. All right. See ya.
Bye.